Hey everybody, I'm Andy Malfrina, and I just finished listening to Celebrity Therapist by the Callous Daoboys. I knew the name of it. I didn't just check it. No, I just finished listening to Celebrity Therapist by the Callous Daoboys. I recorded a full album reaction to that one guy on the Ocean's 8 Alaska video. No, I didn't play fucking Call of Duty. I didn't play it because you fucking guilted me. I don't have my capture card set up properly. Next time though, you don't tell me what to do, you bitch. Anyway, yeah, so I just finished it. Callous Daoboys, if you guys don't know, I like to categorize them. They're a good in-between ground between I used to categorize them like this. Now I think it might be a little bit of a different story. I used to call them like a good in-between ground between bands like I don't need these. I'm not listening to music. I used to call them a good in-between ground between a band like Every Time I Die and Dillinger Escape Plan. And I still think they are a good... I said this in my other video, and I still feel this way. I think the Callous Daoboys are a good intro into Dillinger. If you're not sure... if you're not sure Dillinger Escape Plan is right for you, why don't you try on these trusty Callous Daoboys? They're a good segue into that. Or if you just like, I said this before, Dillinger's a band you got to prep for. You got to fucking get in the right mental space. You got to sketch a little bit of time aside to go check out some Dillinger. You don't just fucking pop on like, hey, let's go for a nice stroll, play some Dillinger. Oh, we're barbecuing. Pop on the Dillinger. You know what I mean? Callous Daoboys are a little more approachable. But yeah, I like I said, I used to say it was the in-between Every Time I Die and Dillinger, but not so much anymore, man. Like this album, or at least with this album. The last album, that is 100% true. This album, they're kind of going for it a little bit more, and I like it. I have a lot of fun. The recording quality, I was saying this on the reaction, the recording quality is up, and I say to the Callous Daoboys, I appreciate that. As a fan, as an avid listener of you guys and gals, I really like hearing that because they have a lot of technical aspects to their band, a lot of crazy shit going on, and with a very active and frantic sound that they have, it's good to have clear audio. That's what these hardcore bands. Now, if you don't have the money to do it, that's one thing. But if you do have the money to do it, I think spending time on your production like that is very crucial. Because as a fucking mathcore nerd like me and shit, I like to really like hear everything. And like with the frantic nature of this music, if it's not clear, you're leaving a lot on the fucking cutting room floor, dude. We're trying to use every part of the buffalo, and you're fucking pushing half of its goddamn body down the blood drain. Where I'm figuring this fucking analogy out, but you guys get what I'm saying. Like, if you don't have clean audio and high quality, like, once again, money permitting. If you don't have the fucking money, I remember I used to be in a band. I know it's not. I was in a band and we self-produced our EP. I know it's not fucking cheap. But if you have the money as a fan, much appreciated. And the Callous Daoboys, they put the money into this, and it sounds fucking beautiful. I was listening to it on the headphones in the reaction. It sounds fucking beautiful. And these are like some cheap, like $20 skull candies, and it sounds crisp and clear and fantastic. They're doing a lot of crazy shit. It's a fun mix between they do a bunch of crazy, like I said, Dillinger shit where it's just all over the place. Not heavy with the weird time signatures like Dillinger. And then they also throw out some shit that is like, it's just some sing-songy stuff. And at first I was not there for it. I was not feeling that. I was not vibing on that. But then they were like, hold the fucking phone, Andy. Wait the fuck up. You know we're good at this shit. You don't think we're going to be good at this shit. And I start listening, and their fucking lead singer's got... I get props to my dude. He's got fucking pipes on him. I didn't know. I always love when the guy who screams or gutturals or whatever the fuck also just sings really well. That's a fun combo to have in a band. So the sing-songy parts, although they're not my favorite part of this album, I do have a lot of fun with them because the dude's voice is fucking fantastic. My a minor complaint I have, I said this on the album reaction, a lot of like early in the first half of this album. The second half of this album crushes pretty fucking hard. The first half of this album crushes hard as well, but they do a lot of shit that some of these mathcore bands do, where they do a lot of stopping and starting, which I like to look at. What was I trying to say? It's with the stopping and starting. It's like it's like you take really good ingredients, but you don't really take the time to like blend them well. You know what I mean? It's like if you took a I don't know, you're making a salad or whatever, and you just put you had some nice ripe tomatoes, and you had a really good high quality dressing and some cheese or whatever, and then you took it and you put the romaine in, and then you fucking cut up the tomatoes, threw that in a corner, threw the cheese in a corner, and just dumped the dressing on top, and you're just like, these are all nice, but you're not mixing them together properly. And I think that sort of happens when you like do a lot of the starting, where you have a lot of good thoughts, but you didn't figure out like a good cohesive way to mesh them together. So it just doesn't come off as smooth as it would have. And that's more of a general statement, not necessarily a hard critique on the Callous Daoboys, because while they do that, I would say like out of 10, it's a 3 at best of a problem. You know what I mean? It happens, but it doesn't it happens a little bit, but it doesn't happen enough that it ruins the listening experience. That was more just a general statement for bands in general, if you care about the things I say. What else was going on? Lyrically, it was at the perfect temperature. This was another thing actually this was a thing that on this album I could make a good comparison to Every Time I Die, where what's fun about Keith's lyrics in Every Time I Die is they're cryptic enough that if you really, really want to get fucking deep, like nerdy about it, you can have a fucking good time. But if you're not really trying to do that, you're just trying to listen to some riffs and hear some cool shit, there's still plenty of that for you to do. So and the Callous Daoboys do the same thing. If you just want to listen to some tunes and let the lyrics pass by you at the tempo, at the speed they pass by you, you can let that happen, and it's a good fucking ride. But if you really want to dig deep into these, because they have a lot of like the lyrics, lyrically, there's a lot of depth to them. There's a lot of like meaning, and they're written in a good way where you hear them the first time. The first time you hear them, and you're kind of like, oh, I kind of got what he said. But if you want to take the extra step, you can sort of get a more well-rounded perspective on what's trying to be said. And so there's a lot of, it's not just like a one-time listen. All right, fucking, let's go on to the next thing. This is something you kind of hang out with and spend some time with and really get to know. And I am excited to sort of get to know this album, because this is not like the definitive review. I don't do definitive reviews. I just do what my thoughts are at this moment. But I think I covered it all. Lyrically, it's really fun. The sound is very robust and tight. They have that was another thing I wanted to say. There's a lot of interesting, unique sounds going on, which is always something you want in a good mathcore album. Just a lot of shit where you're like, didn't hear that one, haven't heard that one before. A lot of shit like that. Production is very up, as I said. Conceptually, going back to lyrics, conceptually, it's kind of hyper-focused on a few topics throughout this whole thing, which kind of, lets you really dig into these topics, which I think is a interesting way to do an album. Just stay very focused on a few things to kind of like really expand upon those ideas rather than trying to master everything. But yeah, man, had a lot of fun with this album. Thought it was very good. If you are into mathcore, if you're into heavy music, if you want to get taken on a little bit of a trip with your music, Celebrity Therapist by the Callous Daoboys is a great album to check out. So do yourself a favor. Go check that shit out right now. All right. Thank you for watching. Thank you for hanging out. I love you. Bye-bye.